Well, this is gonna be terrible. 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 We're gonna have a terrible time. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I'm not a good reader, okay? I am a writer, but I'm not a good reader, especially out loud. However, I was bored and I was like, you know what? I want to see people's reactions to the relationship that I have written because I think it would be a funny thing to see. Um, so we're reading a book today. We're only reading, hold up. Let me look. How many chapters do I have? I forgot. Hold up. Hold up. I'm just gonna scroll real quick. Check. I think it's five. Five or six. No, five. Yeah, I think it's 5 chapters. We only have 5 chapters, but we're gonna be reading them. The song we are listening to right now is the inspiration behind the book. And I want to talk about the book a bit before we hop into reading it, because I'm stalling. I'm not good at reading, bro. I don't know why I'm doing this stream. I just wanted to, and now I'm like regretting it. I'm not good at reading. I can't read out loud well. This is Love Story. I'm not too sure exactly how to pronounce the artist's name because they are French, but Indila Indila Indilia. I don't know how to say it. I just know it's a French artist. And they are really pretty singer. I like all their music. Pretty old singer, but I really do like their music. And if it wasn't for this song, I would not have made the book. So, yeah, today we're doing something a bit different. So, also, for those wondering, the reason there is both a 2D model and a PNG tuber is because I am technically both. And right now we are doing a just chatting stream. And just chatting streams are when I use both my PNG and my 2D model. And it's not separated because I do have separated things. I have a whole thing for my 2D model, like I just showed. So if you're wondering why there's 2 people on screen, that's why. This is the poison. And this is the ashes. So, yes. Oh my god, this looks so weird, bro. I forget how weird this looks, dude. I forget how weird this looks. God, I love this. I love this model. Anyways, so we are reading a book today. It is a book I made. It is my book, my creation, and it is unpublished. This book has not been published anywhere yet. My plan is to publish it on AO3. It's an original book, not a fan fiction. However, AO3, I learned that I can put original books on there, and I'm happy because Wattpad's kind of died out, bro. That might have been where I got my username from, but Wattpad kind of died out, dude. Like, not many people use Wattpad. Not even, I don't think that many people use Wattpad anymore. I think AO3 just became the thing, but specifically for fan fiction. But nobody uses Wattpad anymore, and I don't know where else to publish it. So, yes. And right now, we are currently listening to the playlist for this book because I have a whole playlist dedicated to it. Technically, I should be listening to the playlist of this book and not the playlist of the books I have planned. Anyways, this book is called Dance of the Phoenix. It is spelt similarly. Why did I not say that correctly? Similarly to Phoenix. It's spelled very similarly to Phoenix, but with an F and pronounced differently. It's pronounced Phi O Nix because I wanted something to be different, and I was like Phoenix because Phi from the Fe on X. And hey, isn't that a person? I think that might be a person who actually read my book on stream. Hi, Ace. Oh, it's a deacon. Oh my god. Ahmad. Which deacon we will be working on the server later. Later today. But yeah, I wanted to do a reading stream. I'm regretting this already. God, I'm regretting this. Either way, I was gonna go over Dance of the Phoenix is the book we are reading. It is my book. I wrote it. It was inspired by a French song and a TikTok trend. I wrote this because of a TikTok trend. Welcome to having maladaptive daydreaming and it being affected by the littlest things, and triggered by the littlest things. So, but I did want to give some facts about this book before we hop into it. First one being, it's not an important fact, but it is a fact I like to give out. It's not something that you'll ever that will ever be really touched on till the second book. I plan a second book, but there's hints to it throughout the book. We have two main characters. We have Meadow and Lawrence. Meadow is my first ever trans character. He's a trans male. And I really like how I wrote him just because of the fact that I never point out the fact that he's trans. It's never pointed out. It's always hinted to. And even when it is brought up that he is, again, it's hinted to. So Meadow is our idiot himbo lad. And Lawrence is our stubborn tsundere dude. That's the best way to describe these two. And it's not romantic. I already know for a fact a lot of people, if I read this book, you guys are probably going to ship the two of them. And I encourage that. Because here's the thing. This book was originally a love story. So, if you want to ship them, go right ahead. Originally, this was a straight love story, romance book. That was the original take on it. But for me, when stories start to develop, they start a certain way and they end a certain way. And it started that way, but then I was like, I don't want to write. I still need to continue it on stream. Yeah, you can continue it whenever you feel like. I'm currently writing chapter 6, I believe it is right now. But yes, Meadow is one of our main characters. He's the first trans character I've ever written, and I really like him. I've never written a male character, but also I wanted to be so both of these guys are, this is the first time I'm writing male characters, by the way. And I mean that as main characters. I've written male characters, but I've never written them as main characters. I wanted to try a huge step in different directions with this book, which was to move away from writing romance, because that's what I do. I'm an aromantic asexual and I write romance, yes. Yeah, but I wanted to move away from doing that, and I also wanted to move away from the strong female protagonist type, which I love strong female protagonists, but I've written way too many, and I was like, you know what, I've never written male protagonists, I kind of want to do that, and so I made them both male. Well, one technically was born female, but that does not matter, they are still a dude, so I don't care. I will say that I did realize there's a lot of underlining tones I've made in this book without even noticing. With the thing being, I feel like this book could be a take on understanding people who are trans and understanding people who are different than you, because that's kind of what this book is about. But before we hop into it and stuff, I'm just giving a basic thought on what this book is and some facts about it, because I'm stalling. I'm not gonna lie, I'm stalling. I hate reading out loud. I don't know why I did this stream. I just wanted to read it. I just wanted to read it. See people's reactions. I'm regretting it. God, I regret already. I'm such a bad reader, bro. I can't read out loud well, bro. I just wanted to read it, though. Because I haven't been working on writing it at the moment. So now I'm, worried. Tinkertoon, hello, welcome in. But yes, we will be reading the book that I wrote. But this book, one of the main characters is trans. Throughout this book, it flips back and forth between two different POVs. One chapter is Meadow's POV, the next chapter is Lawrence's POV. Trisket, hello, welcome back. So we have Prince Lawrence, who's one of our main characters, and then we have Guard Meadow, who is our other main character. This entire story starts off with Meadow, and I didn't like, even though I made this story platonic and I tried not to write a romance or anything, the first chapter feels like a setup for a romance thing. But that's because I just stuck with what I first wrote. Okay, I didn't change it. All right. It's a platonic friendship. It's not romantic. But it's fine if you guys want to ship the characters. I would not be shocked. There's so many people. Like, I already saw somebody who read this on stream. They immediately had someone going, "Oh my god, they're so gay," and I'm just like, no, they're not. But you know, you can think what you want. Go ahead. But yeah, I'll ship every character. Oh, I think there's and another thing I'm going to mention is I kept this in, and I'm keeping this in for when we're reading it. You'll notice that things will be highlighted in green. There will be different sentences, different paragraphs, and stuff like that that are highlighted in green. If they are highlighted in green, that means that it is my favorite part that I wrote in the chapter that we were reading. So, yes. Now, another thing I will say about this book, it's not the best. It's probably gonna have a bunch of errors, okay? You guys are getting the first draft of this book. It's probably gonna have a bunch of spelling errors, so do not judge me. Don't judge me, man. I'm trying my best. Oh god, I really am stalling right now. But yeah, this book is pretty fun. This book was inspired from the song Love Story by Indela. And she is a beautiful French artist. And another person that also helped inspire this story, another like song thing, is a person on YouTube and TikTok who makes violin covers. Yes, this entire book though was inspired based off a TikTok trend, which was with the song Love Story, and I really liked the dancing in it, and then a story started to appear, and my maladaptive daydreaming went from the book that it had been stuck on to a new one. And I went through a lot of phases before I figured out what I wanted to write, and I absolutely love one of these characters more than the other. And I enjoy writing one of them more than the other because I have to write two things. I have to write internal conflict and stupidity. That's what we're going back and forth on in this book. Internal conflict and stupidity. That is all I have to say. This book also is kind of dark, I will say that. This entire story starts off with a mass death of a certain magical race that I made, which is why this is called Dance of the Phoenix. It's Phoenix, but spelled with an F, and I pronounce it Phoenix. And Dance of the Phoenix is very interesting. And the Phoenix people are basically imagine elves and put wings on them. Elves with wings. That's all they are. Okay? They're elves with wings. Phoenixes are elves with wings. That is the best way to describe these guys. I've been trying to work in more of the wing writing because I'm bad at writing about their wings. Because I've never written a character with wings. So that's been something that's been fun. But yeah, yes. Basically, yeah. Yeah. Extra high elf. Extra high elf, yes. An extra high elf, basically. But yeah, this book can be pretty dark. Right now it's kind of in the funny phases. But there's a lot of internal conflict. And the last thing I want to say about this book, this is a book for young adults. All right? This is not an adult book. This is a young adult book. So, if it seems a little cringeworthy, because you read different types of books, that's why. Also, if you don't like reading, This is gonna be a nightmare for you. Anyways, I'm done stalling. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me just bonk stream over here. And I'm gonna move over here. I'm gonna move right over here. All right. Here we go. Here it is. All right. So, one thing I'm also going to say at the beginning of every chapter, including the prologue, you will see a quote. There will be a quote like this one right here. And it is always going to be marked from Phoenix. And Phoenix is is a goddess who doesn't get enough screen time because she's not important to the story, but I absolutely adore her and wanted to include her more. So I completely started rewriting the story just so I could add a lovely quote to each thing. Also, let me know if you guys want me to zoom in, because I can zoom in. But, actually, I might zoom in. Hold up. There we go. Oh, God. Hold up. I just realized my music's on shuffle. I want to listen to this in order. Can we not be on shuffle? No shuffle. No, no. No, no, no. We are listening to this in order. Okay. Sorry. I just noticed my music's is on shuffle. Alright. I'm a bad reader. So here's the first thing I'm going to say. If I stutter a lot, that's why. I'm really bad at reading things out loud. So, yes. But we have like 4 or 5 chapters to read. This is my reading doc. I have a doc for reading, which is one that I share with friends that I want to read the book. And then I have a doc for writing. So this one's my reading one, and it has all my complete chapters on it. It's a lot easier than reading on my work because it's not as easy. But yes, this is Dance of the Phoenix. And let's read the prologue. Man, I don't like reading, bro. I really don't like reading, dude. I'm just over here like, I don't want to read. I don't want to, but I also want to, I want to read it, but at the same time, oh God. All right. So, let's just get through the prologue. And also, I will be stopping throughout this reading to talk about certain things, especially my highlighted green parts, just to talk about characters and stuff. Because I'm proud of the book. So, this is the beginning of the book. We have the quote from Phoenix for the prologue, which I think fits really well for the prologue, and that is, ignorance can't always be bliss, though many like to say it is. So, you know, saying ignorance is bliss, it's not. Not in this world. Because it's actually the demise. Alright, so I'm going to read this, and also, again, if there are mistypes, if it looks bad grammar... Okay, so... Oh God, I'm really trying to avoid reading, bro. But I want to read it to you guys, so I'm going to. Alright, we're going to get through the prologue. We can do it. I can read. It's fine. I can read. I can read. Just pretend you're not reading to people. Alright. Lies can be used to... Oh God, I'm not going to be able to read this in a proper... I'm going to not be able to read this in a proper voice, reading voice, so... Enjoy. Lies can be used to control, and some lies are stronger than others, especially lies meant for fear. Very important. There once was a king who used fearful lies to control and they worked like a charm, causing people to be on his side without question. So the king that we are talking about is Prince Lawrence's father. So our other main character, this is all about his father. This beginning is about his father. So that is who we are talking about. On his side without question, because he faked so-called proof of his lies. His name was King Owen. You know what's weird? I have a friend named Owen that I play D&D with. I don't know why I named the king Owen. I couldn't come up with anything. All right, now we're coming on to a made-up word. King Owen of the Posen. Posen. It's Posen. It's supposed to be Posen. That's how it's supposed to be pronounced, is Posen. It is not, I don't think it's any word in anything. I just made it up at the top of my head. So Possum Kingdom. He came into power after a tragic illness killed his father. That's going to be a fun illness to write about. I know I'm going to have to write about it eventually, so that's why I'm like, ooh, fun. The weeks before his father passed, the prince scourged every book he could get his hands on that had a chance of telling him how to possibly heal his father. So this man was desperate. He just didn't want his father to die because he loved his father. Like, bro, if you love your father, you don't want him to die. So you're gonna try everything to heal him. He was so desperate that he dug through history books and explorer diaries. He finally found what he thought was a solution, but he didn't read the warnings about the supposed solution. So he did not pay attention to context clues. He did not read correctly because panic. Prince Owen, this was when he was a prince, ventured out into the woods near the kingdom. Now this is where the Phoenixes live. He didn't read the I just went back. This is me reading. Hi. Prince Owen ventured out into the woods near the kingdom to find a mystical tree that grew a fruit that he had read could heal anything, but he didn't read forward because if a human ate this fruit... Now, this is something I've noticed that I have a love for writing when it comes to poison. Poison that can burn things inside out to ashes. I wonder why my name is PoisonAshes. Why do I like writing that? Why do I like writing that theme? In all of my books, there's something where poison can turn something to ashes, bro. Why do I write that so much? I don't understand. Dude. This is how my reading is going to go, by the way. We are not getting a full-on straight read-through, so I do apologize for people who don't like me stopping and stuff. But that is what this is dedicated to. It's dedicated to the book. That is what the stream is. Couldn't heal anything. The fruit of the phoenix, it could only heal phoenixes, really. It was a phoenix-only fruit. Humans could not eat. Why does this say woods? Why? We're ignoring it. No human had ventured this deep into the woods until that day. And as soon as the humans stepped foot near the trees, roots, the phoenixes were in a fight. Because they garden this tree because it's their goddess and you are not allowed to touch mama. That's my best way to describe this. You're not allowed to touch mama. Get off mama's roots. Get away from our goddess. I love how I just explained that. Get off mama's roots. Get out of here. Mother. Owen was taken aback. Okay, so this is when we start reading into actual, this is interaction. That's just... You can tell that this guy's a spoiled little prince who don't know better. And just wants his father to be healed. That's a main thing here. Owen was taken aback by the noises of wind speeding his way, and in a flash there stood a tall, thin woman with long black hair and two braids in the front, and a pointed and strangely calm look. I told you guys there was gonna be mess ups. It's fine. Large brown wings grew grew behind her, with a spear in her hand and an aggressive stance aimed towards him. You are too far from home, Royal Prince Owen. A smooth, soft, yet stern voice spoke from the tall winged woman. I need that stench fruit. Again, I just made these up at the top of my head, so if these words, like, these might be replaced later on. These words that I made up. Owen demanded in a harsh tone, "He needs that fruit. Give him that fruit." The woman grimaced. "I am afraid for your own safety I cannot allow that fruit is the only thing that could cure my father. Give me the fruit. Give it here." Sorry, I'm gonna be doing this a lot just because this is me reading. I'm reading this like I read regular books. I read books like this, okay? I interrupt myself while I read, okay? Owen shouted, desperation flowing from his words. I don't think you understand. My father is sick and he needs this or he will die. Owen wasn't about to leave without that fruit. He needs that fruit. Give him that fruit. God. Me reading this is chaotic as hell. Dude, I'm way too chaotic to read a book to people. I'm passionate, but I'm way too chaotic to read a book to people. Like, dude, I interrupt myself. I don't think this is a good reading. The woman's eyes narrowed on him as she sighed with sadness. I am afraid that I cannot allow you to do that. She slowly pointed her spear towards him. Owen huffed and went to rush past her, but was stopped with a hard whack to his chest, the sharp end of the spear facing away. So she just bonked him with the staff part. How dare, if you try to step any further, you will be forced out of these woods. God, me reading. I understand your situation, but trust me when I say the woman was caught off by her spear being pushed away. I am taking that fruit. Give it here. Give him the fruit. No, don't give him the fruit. He's gonna, if he takes that fruit, he's gonna kill his own father. So don't do it. He yelled, starting to walk forward, but not getting too far. In one quick swoop, two strong, sturdy forces grabbed his arms, pulling him back. Two taller men started to drag him away. So basically, hey, you ain't getting that fruit. God, I'm too chaotic for this. Why did I choose to do this? I hope you guys aren't too taken aback by the way I'm reading. I really hope not. I'm just reading how I normally do. And this is ADHD at its finest. Anyways. In one quick swoop, yep, read that. Take him to the border of the kingdom and make sure he doesn't come back, she ordered. My father is dying. The only thing that can save him, that is the only thing that can save him. If my fathers die, you will be to blame. And will have your heads on a pike. You will all pay. So this is, now let me explain something here, because this is something that you might be like, why didn't they let him just take the fruit? Well, here's the thing. With the way I've written this character, if he had taken the fruit or if he had not, this still would have happened. The events still would have happened and played out this way, because he would have gotten angry at anyone but himself, because he wouldn't want to blame himself. So, if this feels like it could have been avoided, if they just gave him fruit, no, it couldn't have been. And that is just something I know for a fact wouldn't have been avoided. So yeah, he yelled and he was forced out of the woods. So, he kept his word. He got home too late and his dad died. Listen, I feel bad for the man, but bro, you did it to yourself and you didn't spend your last moments with your dad. That's on you. And he kept his word. Yes. And this is when a mass genocide happened to the Phoenix people because of an angry, spoiled prince. That is all this is. But, I understand he's sad and he wants to take his rage out on people. God, I made this character hateable. I made him hateable and I'm proud of it. Come on. Who doesn't hate somebody who does this just because I am? Once Owen became king, he announced a war against the Phoenix people, telling a story, a lie, of how they violently dragged him from the tree and didn't allow him to get back to the tree. I am seeing all of my I told you there's gonna be mistakes. Just deal with it, all right? He described them as violent, scary, terrifying, and monsters. This was all a lie, but he would say, ignorance is bliss. But only when the ignorance or the ignorant are easy to manipulate. So basically, this man used the fact that they were ignorant to manipulate them into thinking that these people were terrible monsters that could kill them. Which, when people are scared, they will follow. Because they're scared, and he's trying to get rid of the quote unquote fear, quote unquote threat, and yeah. And this is years after, so that we're about to get to. Years after we're about to get to. It wasn't a war. It was more like a nasty, gruesome genocide of the Phoenix people. Yeah, for years the king started to destroy villages. Or village after village, ripped the people piece to piece, and would burn it all. Now, here's something to know about Phoenix people. Again, this is how I'm going to be reading it. I'm going to be informing you about things as well. Phoenix people, when a Phoenix dies, they normally leave the bodies out for Phoenix, their goddess, to turn into trees. So they get all their souls and their memories and everything just gets transferred to a tree. However, if the body is burned or if the body is desecrated in some way, a lot of Phoenixes believe that their people have gone to the void, as they call it. It's like hell for us, but worse. And it's very sad, and people don't like that. The Phoenix people are not a fan of that, which is understandable. That's like their belief. Blah, blah, blah. And soon the Phoenixes started to... Oh, yeah. Years after... I am off the brain girt. ADHD at its finest. What he really wanted, however, was that tree. He wanted to burn it and remove it from existence. Because if he can't save his father, then they can't save their own. Now, here's something to know about this fruit. Not really spoiler, because you learn eventually. This fruit doesn't heal everything. This fruit numbs pain. This fruit is legit for numbing all symptoms of whatever illness you have. Meaning that it would still kill off the host. Any illness that the people have they would still be affected by it and killed by it if it is deadly. Because all this fruit does is numb it so they can actually still experience their life before they die. That's kind of how this fruit works. And the humans don't know that. He don't know that. But, yeah. That's kind of how it works for Phoenixes. So it doesn't actually even heal. So this guy's been completely wrong this whole time. He did wrong, bro. He wrong. God, I have so much world building in this world. Damn. However, it was as if the tree vanished, and nothing made him more mad than the feeling of going insane. Because it's like he's looking for this tree, and nobody else knows about the trees. Years after years, he killed off more and more of the people, causing them to flee and hide. And as soon as Phoenixes started to vanish from the villages, the armies clearing out ghost towns. They were clearing out ghost towns at this point. Soon the king started to believe he killed all the Phoenixes off, but then they made it to the last and largest village. We're about to get some story here. The town where he once again met a familiar face, and that is the woman. And I feel terrible for her. A tall, slender woman, years older than before, stood in front of him once again, talking with the same smooth, soft, yet stern voice. King Owen, you don't have a reason for this. I understand your pain and anger, but that is no excuse for bloodshed. Like this. We could be friends. We have many resources that could help your kingdom. This is her trying to plead with him. She said sweetly, pity filling her voice. Fire! That's all that this is. He raises a fist and fire. The villages were destroyed, but not every person, or the village was destroyed, but not every person was killed. a small child, an 8-year-old child, I'm going to say it right now, an 8-year-old child survived. That was the eldest son of the tall, raven-haired Phoenix woman. That Phoenix was named Meadow. Hey, main character! Hey, hey! One of the main characters! Hey! Sorry, but I had to. And he was one of the lone survivors. So this child watched everyone die around him. So real. I love this. So real. Yeah, so real. This poor child. I feel bad for him. Anyways. The king soon started to give up on the hunt for the tree and started to focus on his own life. This was after he thought he killed all the phoenixes, by the way. Well, I mean, he knew there was still some out there, but he thought he killed them all. And kingdom, while also making sure guards were guarding the border and keeping any phoenix from ever leaving. And if they were spotted, they would be killed on sight. For years, it was the same phoenixes... Blah, blah, blah. It was the same phoenixes stayed hiding. What did I write here? Bro. For years, it was the same phoenixes that stayed in hiding. And the kingdom continued to keep them on their toes. The king thought he had won and thought it would stay like that forever. That's the prologue. That's prologue. So... what you guys should be gathering from this prologue is, damn, this king's a dumbass. This king is stupid. He's acting on anger and rage. I feel bad for him, but how dare you kill a bunch of people because of this, dude? He's selfish. That's the best thing to explain King Owen. He's selfish. As for Meadow's mother, well, you guys would learn about her later in the book once I get more chapters written. But... I feel so bad. But yeah. Now, this is where I start getting confused on my own quotes. I don't know what these quotes are for Phoenix, okay? I kind of want to go back and change them. But this is chapter 1. So here's how it's going to go. Chapter 1, Meadow. Chapter 2, Lawrence. And it goes back and forth and back and forth. Now, I'm ready for everyone to go, oh my god. They're so gay. I'm waiting for it. You guys can ship them if you want, all right? Also, if you guys want a good explanation, I think we're going to be explaining Meadow here soon. But Meadow is just a graceful young lad, and I love him. I love him so much. I love him, I love him, I love him. But yeah, the way we're introduced to him, you guys are probably going to enjoy this first chapter because it can be comical. And now we're getting into the chapters where I have stuff highlighted. So, you see something highlighted in green? We're going to stop. We're going to talk about it. And I think we're just going to stop and talk about things throughout this entire reading because I'm reading this like I would read any other book, which is where I interrupt myself after every paragraph, almost every paragraph. You guys are also about to meet my favorite character, which is not any of the main characters, but you'll see. This is always fun. Humans and phoenixes are both strange breeds. Phoenix. I love Phoenix. Phoenix is Mama Goddess, Mama Tree Goddess, Mama Nature Goddess, Mama Life Goddess. I call her that because she's just a giant woman. She's a giant, pretty, fiery woman. And I love her. 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 Sorry, I love Phoenix so much. I don't write enough about her, but it's because she's not important. I love her, but she's not that important to the story. I know I could make her more important, but I already have the story written out. She's not that important to the story. Yeah, the goddess isn't that important, bro. Anyways, Meadow felt the tightness of the human's corset and immediately wondered how any human could wear such a thing so tight it almost felt to him like his wings were being squeezed together with no way of escaping. So they got big ass wings because they need wings big enough to help fly. I'm pretty sure if humans had, or like if any creature that's humanoid had wings, those wings would be a big wingspan, and this is him hiding his wings with magic. Or not with magic. No, this is no, because that wouldn't be the way their magic works. That wouldn't be correct. This is him basically hiding his wings under a bunch of stuff, under a dress. That's right. We start with a man wearing a dress. Slay King. Sorry. I'm gonna laugh at myself a lot. And also, by the way, I use Void as a replacement for Hell when it comes to Phoenixes, because that is basically Phoenixes. Hell is the Void. How in the Void do humans wear these things so tight? Meadow asked with a squeak to his regularly high masculine voice. As Thorn finished tying the back. Now, Thorn is my boy! Alright, you guys aren't going to get much of Thorn, but when you do, you're going to love him. He's my boy. Thorn's my boy. I love Meadow, and don't get me wrong, I love Meadow, but Thorn, I love Thorn. He's a side character, but I love him so much. I always like the side characters the most. I always like the protective, like, family kind of figure the most. Alright. Anyways. Don't care, or don't know, don't care. I could actually do a voice for him because I know how he sounds. Thorn replied with his deep, monotone voice as usual. Now, I am trying to describe as much as possible in the first chapter, so. Why do I have to do this again? Look at this scrappy green nightmare dress. And don't get me started on the corset, bro. I said I added the bro part, don't mind me. Meadow complained as he gestured to the dress and corset he was in, and now we get some explanations of what they look like in this particular thing. The dress was a green cloth. The dress was a green cloth dress with a rounded neckline and a large light green lace that covered the whole skirt to the bottom. The corset was a darker green with a flowery design. It was a corset meant for women, and Meadow was heavily regretting agreeing to this mission. So he's over here asking, why do I gotta do this again? I wonder. Why do you gotta do this again, Meadow? I wonder. Meadow's stupid, okay? He's trying his best. You said it would be the best fit. Oh, Tinkertoon, thank you for the follow. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. You said you would be the best fit, remember? Thorn asked. But it was less of a question and more of a statement as he turned Meadow around to the mirror that was being held by vines growing from the stone wall. The way I envision where Meadow is or how these places look is beautiful, but I'm really bad at describing it. So this will be fun. Meadow has always looked a bit feminine. And even though he worked hard to get himself to a more masculine look, he still had a very feminine face and body type. Here's the hints that I was telling you about. We have these little small hints to him being trans. And it's like this, for example. He looks feminine, but he's not, because he is a dude. Because trans people, like trans men, can look feminine and still be a guy. Like, feminine boys exist, but he's not a big fan of it, so that's something you will learn. Meadow was tall, standing around 6 feet perhaps. This guy's tall and thin like a toothpick. And that's not even an insulting way. That's just like basically it. Like a lot of Phoenixes are kind of thin. Not all of them. Not all of them. But some of them are kind of thin. So. And he had a very thin yet strong body. This guy's strong, but also like he's a strong, stupid himbo. Anyways. Meadow was tall, standing around. Yeah, I already read that. Meadow had white, long hair that reached down around his hips with 2 braids on both sides of his bangs that were pulled to the back, tied together. His face was somewhat hollowed due to his high cheekbones. His ears were longer than most phoenixes. They have very long pointy ears. Look at my pointy ears. You see my pointy ears on this model? Those, but longer. Those, but longer. Sorry, I like that I can use my ears as an example. Good. Anyways, his ears were longer than most phoenixes and much more noticeable. His wings, which were hidden and almost being crushed within the corset, not crushed enough to hurt, but crushed enough to be uncomfortable, were usually light brown, long, and reached down to the ground behind him, almost draping on the ground. Big ass wings. Best explanation, very quick explanation. Compared to him was Thorn, my boy. Every time I say Thorn, I'm gonna say my boy. Thorn was quite short for a phoenix, but was bigger less thin, and more bulky in a way due to his muscles. So this guy has more defined muscles, being more visible than Meadows. He had blonde hair. I forget that I write him every time I envision him. I want him to have blonde hair, but my brain always envisions him with brown hair, but he's supposed to be a blonde. Blonde medium hair that fell to his shoulders with 2 braids. Now, you'll notice a lot of the men who are phoenixes have braids in their hair. And so do the women. Normally for men, they have 2 braids in their hair. The women normally have 1 braid in their hair. Sometimes they'll have 3 braids in their hair, but the braids are just like something that I wrote in. I don't know. That's just how it ended up being written. I wasn't even paying attention to what I was writing until after I read it. I was like, wait a second. Why am I writing it this way? Why did I got so many braids? Why did I write them with so many braids in their hair, bro? I don't know. Anyways. Fell to his shoulders with 2 braids like Meadows on both sides of his hair that were pulled back, tied together. Very similar to Meadows, except he doesn't have bangs. He was wearing a white flowing shirt that tucked into black pants. His wings, unlike Meadows, were slightly bigger. We got a short king with giant wings. Let's go. And hung forward to his sides. So basically hunched forward, basically kind of how the wings are. They're hunched forward. All right. I finished. Go to the queen. She will brief you on the plan. I know how to read a thorn. I know how to read a thorn line. Just be very dead inside. Meadows sighed and began to head out of the queen's room where he had been changing into these clothes. Oh, and Meadow, Thorn said, making Meadows stop and look back. Thorn's cold, dark brown eyes met Meadows' bright green ones. Remember, you messed this up. He paused, holding up 1 finger. You have 1 strike left. Do you understand? Are you understand? Thorn asked strictly. Meadows' eyes widened slightly, and he nodded. Understood, sir. So Thorn is the, top guard, guard of the queen. He runs the guard, basically. So he's like the general. So when he's talking to him like this, that is why. Meadows said with a bow of his head, then turned, heading out the door to the room. And headed down a small hall that turned to the right to see the queen, who was speaking with Sapling. You will notice nature names. We got Meadow, we got Sapling, we got Queen Rose, we got Thorn. A lot of nature names when referring to phoenixes. My favorite name I have so far in here that's nature related is Lotus. Queen Rose was a bit different from mostly all phoenixes Meadow has seen. The queen wore a slim, light orange flowing cloth dress with black flats. Her hair was a beautiful, curly, dark brown. I love her hair. With bangs that fell just above her eyes, a golden crown that sat upon her head, looking like a golden branches gathering together to hold an opal stone. I like opal stones, man. In the middle of the crown. Her skin was white and pale, but the one thing that set her apart from every Phoenix was that Queen Rose was wingless. That's right. The queen of her people doesn't have any wings. They were ripped off her back. That's all I have to say. Almost all phoenixes have wings, but not the queen, because she lost her wings to a human. And yet she wants to be friends with humans. Oh my god. As Meadow entered the queen's room, the room, the queen looked up. You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to be the one to do this? Rose asked with a sympathetic look in her eyes. I am much more on the feminine side, and I won't have to concentrate as much. Bro. Dumbass. Anyways, I say this about my own character. I'm gonna be saying this throughout the whole thing about my own character, because he's so stupid. He's trying his best, but he's so stupid. Writing him is fun. Concentrate on as much as someone like Thorn would. I will only have to change my ears and hair, and that takes barely any concentration compared to changing your entire looks. Yeah. Yeah, barely any concentration, right? Don't mind me. I could see my own foreshadowing, and I just... God. Meadow explained. Rose sighed as Meadow walked up next to her. Meadow, she slowly placed a hand on his shoulder. Are you sure you're not uncomfortable with this in any way? She asked, looking at him closer now, her lips curled down with concern. I mean, this is a dress. I mean, this dress is very much a pain in my... Meadow, I'm being serious. Pain in my... Don't mind me. Welcome to ADHD. You guys are just getting ADHD read. Rose said, cutting Meadow off. Meadow sucked in a deep breath and sighed. It's nothing new. I used to wear Branglebert. Nothing new. I used to dress and be this way all the time. Another hint to the fact that he is trans. All the time at one point in my life. It's surely not a problem, I promise. Meadow said, placing a hand over hers on his shoulder. Okay, Queen Rose is one of Meadow's mother figures. So when I write about her, she's like one of his mother figures. Not his mother, because his mother's gone, as we found out in the beginning. But she has a mother figure, so that's why she seems so worried about him and stuff like that. Rose's mouth slowly curled into a smile. Okay. She slowly pulled away as Meadow nodded. Alright, so tell me the plan again. Now, this is the part where I'm going to say this may sound cringe, but like the whole point is that these people are desperate as fuck. Meadow said with a smile. Plan is simple. You are going to go in disguise and try to in some way attract or get near the prince. You know, to murder him. No, I'm joking. After you get close to him, use a cloaking magic to cloak this note. The plan is to sneak it into his pocket. So basically, hey, give this guy a note so he can read it. Do it. After she explained this, Meadow raised an eyebrow. I knew we were desperate to try something, but I didn't realize we had gotten so desperate as to just let luck decide our fate. Yeah. 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 Meadow said in an unfulfilled tone. The queen sighed. Meadow, we are basically all out of options at this point. For years, I've tried everything to get through to the king, and nothing has ever worked. The prince is honestly the best hope, and he is a very hard person to get alone, especially outside of the castle. Yeah, this man don't leave the castle at all. This prince don't leave the castle at all, and I mean at all. So this is gonna be a fun story. If that is so, then there is no way he'll listen to... Yeah, that is correct, Meadow. But still, they're trying, okay? Oh God, I'm gonna be lecturing my own character. You guys, this is the first time I've read one of my books, though, so that's why I'm like so talkative about it. There is no way he will listen to just a note telling him to meet outside the castle. Don't you think I know that, Meadow? Rose asked, just as frustrated. I know that it is a long shot, but it is the only shot we have left to at least try and cause some form of change. I know it's more than likely not going to work, but like I said, we are all out of peaceful options, and I want to at least try it. This is her trying her hardest to get a peaceful ending to this war. That's right. Even after the king murdered tons of their people, the Phoenixes still do not want to kill any humans. In fact, the only human they blame for this issue isn't all humans. At least, most of the Phoenixes don't blame all humans. There is one that does. Most Phoenixes don't, but there are some that do. But they don't blame most Phoenixes don't blame the king or the people who followed under the king because they were in fear. They blame the king, which I like how he wrote that. Metal let out a sad sigh. I apologize, Your Highness. I was just taken aback by such a lackluster plan. I will do my best. Rose gave him a soft smile. Thank you, Meadow. Meadow nodded and then slowly moved back and forth. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. My favorite thing to write with Meadow is his mannerisms. You'll notice how I write certain parts. Like when he feels something, you'll notice how his hands move back and forth. Like these are little details, but I love them so much. The little mannerisms that he has. I don't think I will, but just in case I were to lose concentration, or the humans were to somehow catch on to the fact that I'm not human, what should I do? The foreshadowing is way too obvious, but I love it. It is foreshadowing, way too obvious, but I love it. Meadow held. Sorry. What was it? What was I reading? Where was I? Branglebert. There it is. Meadow held both of his hands close to him. Rose sighed. Just get out of there as fast as you can and don't make any rash decisions, she said. She explained, giving him a stern look. Understood? Meadow nodded. Understood, he replied. All right. Now this is the part where I'm expecting people to go, oh my god, they're so gay. I'm expecting it here. We're getting to the part where I expect that. Meadow sadly had to walk, seeing as his wings were basically tied up in the back. He made it to the kingdom and the sun had just set. It took me weeks to write this one paragraph. Weeks to write this one paragraph. Casting a soft light upon the kingdom in front of him. He had never seen the Poison Kingdom before, and from the hill he stood on that was at the side of the kingdom, it looked extraordinary. What a big word. I used such a big word there. I'm proud. The kingdom was massive and topped with large peaking roofs made of dark brown stone on the castle pillars connecting to 4 towers. So basically, 4 towers around the castle that seemed to split the castle from the villages, that were close to the castle. Every building that was near the castle was made of the same limestone. The same limestone. The castle had But as Meadow looked down, the villages, they slowly seemed to space out more near more buildings near the inn, looking a lot less cared for, unlike the closer villages. So this is to show that they treat lower class different than higher class, and higher class is closer to the kingdom, lower class is not. That's what that is to show. They slowly seem to space out more and more. I already read that. Unlike the closer village, that they didn't even seem to have vines growing up them. So the closer villages, well kept. Further villages, not well kept. High class, low class. That must be the lower class citizens. Yep. Meadow mumbled to himself before he took in a deep breath and began his focus on the cloaking spell. Now, the way magic works for phoenixes is they have to focus on stuff for it to work. So basically, they have to continuously think about something, and the moment they forget about it, that's it. That spell's gone. They just have to remember it, have it in the back of their head. But if they completely blank out like I do with my ADHD, poof, there goes the spell. Meadow has such ADHD, bro. This ain't good for him. He then ran down the hill and headed for the castle. Once he got closer to the towers, he quickly hid behind a home in the bushes, dropped the cloaking spell, and then quickly shifted his focus to a shifting spell. Or a shifting spell, yeah. He slowly, his white hair that hanged near his hips slowly turned brown, his ears shrinking and rounding out. He then quickly sprinted. That's what it's supposed to be, sprinted. Sprinted out into the slight crowd of people. Heading to the castle, he followed the citizens past the towers to the courtyard that had a fountain in the middle and the stone paths that split around the fountain, heading to the larger open brown doors with gold designs that were two lions sleeping next to one another. Now, Meadow assumed that the inside wasn't as grand as the outside, similar to the grand house the queen lived in. The grand house is a giant ash tree. We got a lot of giant ash trees here. But he didn't expect it to be so extravagant. Oh my god, big word! Every time I use a big word, I'm going to say that. Just the hall he walked across to get to the next set of doors that opened into the ballroom was huge and had large paintings. That's supposed to be paintings! What the hell, Ashes? Why ain't you writing correctly? What are you doing? You're not writing correctly. Why are you writing correctly? Why are you writing correctly? Why are you writing correctly? God. Collecty. Anyways. You guys are getting all my ADHD right now. The large paintings that sat on the walls. People with crowns on. And he assumed they must all be the former kings and queens of the past. And then he made it to the end of the row of paintings, seeing the latest king, King Owen. And the king in the painting seemed just as intimidating as Meadow expected. In the picture, the man stood with his head high, a serious look fixed on his angular face. So this guy got like a really like shaped face. That's basically what's going on here. The man's black hair was pulled back with the crown sitting on his head. He wore a dark green jacket. Now green and orange, I believe, are their colors, with golden shoulders and an orange cape. You'll notice with the prince and the king, the orange cape has fur at the end, but with the prince, the orange cape has fur at the top. One way to tell them apart. Black pants and brown boots. He had a very strong look to him with his broad shoulders. So this is the king. Blech. Even I hate the king. I wrote him well. If I hate him, I wrote him well. He mumbled to himself and continued walking out of the white and gold hall into the ballroom. Let me say this right now. This took me so long. The first chapter took me way too long because I needed to figure out how to describe things. That's hard, man. That's the hardest part about writing. Describing shit. How the hell am I supposed to describe shit, bro? How the hell do you describe shit? I'm so bad at that. The ballroom was beautiful with its white walls and golden trim around the large rounded windows that gave a wonderful view of the large fortress that surrounded the kingdom in front of the windows. In front of the windows sat tables filled with all types of foods and sweets. Meadow knew that if Lotus, his best friend, if Lotus was here right now, she would be analyzing what ingredients they might have used to make them. She loved human food. I love our cook. She's great. I love our baker. As Meadow looked around, he spotted the kingdom and the king and the prince. Why did I say kingdom? The king and the prince at the end of the ballroom. Up a few small steps. Hold up. Let me turn down the music slightly. Anyways. Up a few small steps, sitting in two of the three thrones. Meadow immediately paid attention to the differences of the king and his son, because his son looked almost nothing like the king besides his copper eyes and body build. That's it. That's all they have in common. Their eyes and body build. Everything else, he looked nothing like him. A good way to show a distinct difference in the two of them. Prince Lawrence had light, fluffy brown hair. He has curly brown hair. It just looks fluffy because it was brushed out. He wore a white jacket with gold on his shoulders, black pants, and had an orange cape that had fluff on the top around his neck. Lawrence's face was much more soft and round than his dad's, and just by the difference in the king's skin tone and the prince's skin tone, his father definitely never let him leave the castle. And that fact alone made Meadow want to groan, because there was no way in the void that they were about to get the prince to leave the castle. Lawrence also was smiling as he sat next to his father, looking like he's about to jump from his seat. And then a guard walked up. So, dance time. This part's funny. I'm sorry. This part makes me laugh every time, bro. Attention, citizens of Poison. The guard announced loudly, grabbing the attention of everyone as the prince looked to his father. His father gave him a slight nod, and he stood happily. We got a happy prince. In honor of the prince's birthday. That's right. They're doing this on the prince's birthday. This is the prince's birthday, bro. Remember that. He requested a dance with a maiden of his choice. Love this part. This part makes me laugh. Any maiden who wished to dance with the prince, please make your way to the center of the room. Listen, he has a mission, bro. The guard announced while stepping out of the way of the prince. Now, Mel might have walked to the center instead of running to the center, mainly because he didn't know what kind of dance they meant and was a bit hesitant. Fun fact about Phoenixes, different dances represent different relationships. If you guys have an idea of where this is going, yes. I can understand why. This is the part where I'm like, yeah, I can understand why people ship them. Because this happened. But trust me, this is platonic, okay? This is just how it starts, alright? I still love this. It makes me laugh, bro. Meadow kept his eyes down, hoping if he didn't look at the prince would find it insulting and not want to pick him. However, he was the very last maiden to the center, and he would assume what happened next was because the prince mistaked the hesitation for shyness. What is your name? Hey, we got Laura. This is dumbass. Both of these characters are stupid, okay? But I love them. Well, I would say Lawrence is smarter out of the two. The prince asked, his voice a lot deeper than Meadow expected. Meadow looked up, seeing a smiling prince standing in front of him. It took all the strength in him to revert his voice to the higher pitch, to a higher pitch without it sounding forced or faked. He has plenty of practice in that, so it's not too much of an issue. My name is Willow, Your Highness. Meadow said, doing a slight curtsy. I don't know how curtsies are supposed to actually go. Void, he was thankful that Lotus was never gonna see this. I love Lotus. Lotus would make fun of him relentlessly. Lawrence held out a hand to him slowly. Would you mind a dance? Now, this is a fun part to write, because it's just funny to me. This whole chapter here is funny to me. Me, Meadow asked, confused, because he was expecting a lecture of how he should act in front of a prince. Oh my god. He's so dumb. But that was not the case, apparently. Lawrence let out a soft chuckle. Yes, you. Alright. After just a few moments, Meadow figured out exactly what kind of dance this was. And it confused him as to why the main dance with humans was a dance of love, as the Phoenix has called it. Yes, I know this could be a setup for a romance, but it's funny. He assumed it was the main dancing, as other people around also began to do the same dance along. Meadow was pulled closer. We got this whole moment. I can see why people call this gay, though. I can see it. And at this moment, all he wanted to do was get as far away from this dude as possible. He wanted to get as far away from the prince as possible. Let me read that correctly, but my brain goes, as far away from this dude as possible, bro. No, no, no. And not so luckily, Meadow wasn't close to the prince that long. Dumbass lost his focus like he said he wouldn't. Dumbass lost his focus like he said he wouldn't. Oh my god, who would have predicted it? Meadow was so taken back by this news that the spell he had been focusing on failed. The spell he had been focused on to stay disguised, and as soon as the prince saw his white hair and sharp ears, he immediately pulled back, causing Meadow to remember that he was supposed to be in disguise. Dumbass. You dumbass. Felix? The prince yelled with fear, causing gasps and screams. Oh no, not a Phoenix. Oh no, how dangerous. Oh no, how scary. Oh my god, scary. He's so pretty, though. Why would somebody do that? He's so nasty. He's so handsome, though. Why don't you be scared? I'm joking. Meadow panicked as he quickly looked around, seeing guards pulling crossbows out, and some running towards him and the prince. A quick and probably reckless thought came to his mind. Oh my god. What did the queen just tell you, bro? God, this is how I literally react this way after writing it and reading it, because it's like, I hate having to write him as stupid as he is, but he is. But that didn't matter to Meadow. What mattered to him was getting out of there without dying or getting shut down. Meadow let his wings stretch out, breaking the corset off. He's tired of that corset holding onto his wings, man. The stupid corset off, ripping 2 holes in the back of the dress and moved, using a slight flap of his wings to move faster towards the prince, placing 2 fingers on his nipples. Sleep. He whispered, thinking quickly of the spell, and then he picked the prince up and flew into the air. Imagine it's your birthday. It's your birthday. You end up dancing with something that terrifies you and scares you to your very core. And then they knock you out. This prince had the worst birthday of his life, bro. Teddy Dark Bear. Hello, thank you for that follow. We are currently reading my book that I made. This is an original book I wrote, and we only have a few things to read right now. So, and we're listening to the playlist on repeat for this book I wrote. So yeah, you're welcome for the follow, love, and from one VTuber to another, here to show support. Thank you. Yeah, I'm reading a book, and my ADHD is clear as day. Because the way I read books is I interrupt myself a lot. And so we're reading my book right now, and I'm interrupting myself a lot. Also, if you're wondering why there's a PNG, I have both. So we both have the same condition. Yes. I'm also a bad reader, and I decided to read the book. Yeah. Anyways, back to what we're reading. What mattered to him? Yeah, sleep. There it is. Sleep. He whispered, quickly thinking of the spell, and then he picked the prince up and flew into the air. This poor prince. And when the archers went to aim, he used the prince as a shield. Hey, human shield. Hey, bro. Because he knew that they wouldn't shoot if it risked the prince's life. Guards, the king yelled, standing quickly. He's using the prince as a shield, one guard yelled. ADHD, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, mental health, and autophobia. Fear of feeling and being... I have the ADHD, depression, and anxiety. However, my fear, my phobia, I still don't know how to say it correctly. It starts with TH. It's the fear of the ocean. So, yeah. But yes, mental health issues for me. I have that too. Hey. Anyways, he's using the prince as a shield, one guard said. Put my son down, you monster. I hate the king. The king demanded, his voice booming through the room. Meadow thought quickly of what to do, and he realized if he were to use the prince, he might be able to make a deal with the king. He let his voice drop to normal. If you want the prince back safely to the north of the castle, 5 miles out in 2 weeks. Go to the north of the castle 5 miles out in 2 weeks, and then we can talk about releasing him. He yelled, casting invisibility and heading straight for the window. So this man took a prince, grabbed him, kidnapped him, flew through a window. Meadow is a dumbass. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. He's a dumbass. I know he's supposed to be, but I hate it every time I read it. Check your Instagram. I have an Instagram, but I'll tell you this right now. It's not downloaded on my phone right now. I have to download it on my phone, and I'm not logged into it on my... I only have it there because it's there, man. But yeah, on my Instagram, you will see my face. So when you have a chance, love. Yeah, I'll check when I have the chance. Anyways. Meadow's a dumbass. Meadow's a dumbass. I'm sorry. I'm just over here like, Meadow, anytime my boy does something stupid, I'm like, oh, why are you so stupid? I know why you're so stupid, because I wrote you that way, but why you gotta be so stupid? Heading straight for a window, Meadow flew higher and pulled the prince close, wrapping his wings around him, and spun, heading straight for a window, shattering through it quickly. Then he begins his flight back. Okay, as you guys can see down here in the bottom. I know, we ADHD people get easily distracted, yes. Down here in the bottom, as you can see, we're about to come up on my favorite thing I wrote with my boy, my character, my side character, who is my favorite side character. And this is my first interaction with these two, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thing to note, Thorn is his general, and he has to deal with Meadow a lot. Meadow suspected on the flight back the prince would awaken, freak out, and make him drop him. But apparently the prince was a lot more tired than he let on. Sleep was an odd spell compared to other spells. It didn't take concentration to keep someone asleep. Instead, you just have to cast it, and depending on the person's tiredness, it could last from a couple minutes to hours, and seeing as the royal village was almost a half-day travel by foot and nearly half that by flight, if he hadn't been tired, he would have awoken already, and Meadow was grateful that the prince had been tired, because that would made his life a whole lot easier. As Meadow landed in the village, he wrapped his rings around the prince as he headed straight for Lotus's home, but very quickly was stopped by Thorn, the one person he didn't want to see right now. This is my favorite thing I wrote. I love this so much. This interaction is the funniest thing in the first chapter, bro. I'm gonna read it. God, I'm gonna die of laughter reading this. Okay. Meadow, why are you holding your wings around yourself like like that, not heading to report to the queen? Thorn asked, walking in front of Meadow with his arms crossed and a deadpan stare. Well, you see, thank you for the lyric. Do that homework. Well, you see, you messed up the mission. I had a feeling that would happen, and it's obvious in the nervousness of your stance. This man can read him like a fucking book. Thorn can read anyone like a fucking book. That's not what I want an explanation on. I want to know what you are hiding behind your wings and why you're heading straight for Lotus's house, Thorn said, cutting Meadow off, and Lord Meadow hated that Thorn was way too good at reading people. I love Thorn. Thorn. Meadow took a deep breath and sighed. I may have made a very risky, stupid mistake, said, looking down. I assumed. Do you mind showing me this mistake? Thorn asked, still giving Meadow a deadpan stare. Bro. Meadow in trouble. Meadow very slowly opened his wings, and as soon as Thorn saw the prince, he went from giving a deadpan stare to looking like he wanted to yell at Meadow. As he looked down, pinching the bridge of his nose and closing his eyes. Please tell me, this is a nightmare? And I am just imagining you're holding the prince we were supposed to give a message to and not take hostage. Thorn asked, frustration rising in his voice. Not a nightmare, Meadow said, ready for Thorn to start yelling. Thorn looked up, dropping his hand from his face and giving Meadow one of the most disappointed looks he has ever seen on him. What's in your right mind made you think that kidnapping the prince was a good idea, Meadow? Thorn asked with anger. Listen, no, you're not explaining this to me. Thorn walked up and grabbed Meadow by his left wing. Yeet! Left wing hard and began to drag him, sending a pain through Meadow's wings and back, causing him to let out a slight squawk. You're going to explain all this to the queen, not me, Thorn said as he yanked Meadow along by the wing. Hey, ouch, that hurts, Thorn, yelled, remembering the prince was in his arms. Yeah, in his arms. Thorn, that hurts. That's what it was. That hurts, Thorn. Yeah, well, your stupidity hurts me. I love that line. Yeah, well, your stupidity hurts me. Okay? Your stupidity hurts me worse, all right? Hello, what's going on? We are reading a book. We are reading my book. You just joined to be reading my favorite part of this entire thing, and it's Meadow, main character, getting dragged by Thorn. Dragged by his wing. Because he did something stupid. I love this. Hey, ouch, that hurts. Yeah, well, your stupidity hurts me worse. I love that. I don't know why I love that line so much. It just makes me laugh, and it really shows Thorn's personality. But yeah, we're reading my book right now, if you're wondering what's going on. I'm reading it my way. I think I'm just going to read the first chapter, because it looks like this has already taken like an hour and a half. Damn. Listen, I didn't realize I wrote that much, okay? I know there's over 1,000 words per chapter, but I didn't know I wrote that much, bro. We might just be reading the first one of this. I don't think I can read that long. I don't think my voice could handle it, bro. Yeah, I think we'll say it's fine. We'll save it. We'll save the rest of it. God. As he continued dragging Meadow all the way to the center of the tree. Oh wait, I skipped a part. Whoops. You can let go. I'll walk with you. He shouted in a whisper. Nope, Thorn said as he continued dragging Meadow all the way to the thing. So like the thing is, their wings on birds and bats, I know, are kind of like really fragile, especially on bats. So when I'm writing this, I had to think, what would it feel like if a human had a wing and it was being yanked on, right? And I was like, I feel like the nerves would be connected to the back. And so I was like, so I feel that if a thing, is it available? No. We are only reading the first 5 chapters that I have written. And this book will be published on AO3. It is not a fan fiction, it's an original book. But I do know for a fact that I can publish on AO3, so that's where this book will be located. I just decided today I was bored and I wanted to try reading it. But yeah, during this writing of the wings, I was thinking, how would a wing work if a human had it? And I'm like, well, I feel like the nerves would be heavily connected to the back. And I feel like it being pulled would cause, pain. Like, I don't know. My brain worked that way, and I don't know if that's correct. It's just my brain thinking. He continued dragging Metal all the center of the tree. The center of the village. Tree of the village. Center tree of the village. Damn, I can't read, bro. This is one reason I was afraid to do this stream, bro. Where Queen Rose lived. After they got inside, Thorn finally let go of Meadow's wing, making Meadow whine in pain as he turned around and followed Thorn to the main room where the Queen was reading over papers. Oh, God. Such creativity. I could never. My brain, I'm a maladaptive daydreamer, and this is my maladaptive daydream I'm reading, so... Your Highness, we have a giant problem, Thorn said, Meadow cowering as the Queen looked up and immediately sighed. Meadow, what in the ever-ending void did you do? It's like, I'm going to say this. This is basically like a mother lecturing her son. This whole part is like a mom lecturing her son. The Queen shouted as she silently rose from her desk. Okay, listen. It's not as bad as it looks. I can explain. Dumbass. That is such a dumbass. I'm gonna call my own character dumbass so many times, bro. He's so stupid. I know that he's supposed to be, but even I am like, what the fuck, dude? Even I want to face palm. Meadow spoke quickly. Explain then, Meadow. The queen bit out. Meadow sighed deeply. Spell, I panicked and thought I'd use him as a shield. Use the princess as a shield of some sort. Because I knew nobody would shoot at him, and then I thought instead of the plan that wasn't going to work, to make a new plan and possibly use the princess as a bargaining chip. Enough. God, I love reading that. I love reading that the way I did. The Queen shouted, holding up a hand, glaring at Meadow with disappointment before sighing and looking at Thorn. Thorn, please go set up a cell and make it as comfortable as possible, because the prince doesn't deserve to sleep on the floor. Make sure it's one of the most moss-covered cells to make it nice. She ordered, and Thorn groaned, walking out of the room. She then directed her attention back to Meadow and pointed at him. You won't be allowed on missions outside of the royal village for 2 full moons. She's grounded. Sorry. I know that okay, so this character, the Queen isn't actually his mother, but the Queen is his mother figure. So every time I read this part, I'm like, you're grounded. Bro just got grounded. What? I am not done, Meadow, she said strictly, making sure Meadow didn't interrupt, and he quickly shut his mouth. The prince is now your responsibility. You will be in charge of morning guarding. You will be the one who brings him food, water, and anything he needs. Do you understand, Meadow? she asked, and Meadow nodded. Again, this is like a mother lecturing her child. Do you understand? She repeated the question, waiting for a verbal explanation from him. Oh god, it's like a mother lecturing her son. I love it. Yes, Your Highness, Meadow said, looking down. After he answered, Rose let out a very long sigh. Meadow, you have one strike left. Don't lose it, she said softly. You didn't want special treatment, so don't mess up something this bad again. Please, just learn to think before you act already. He'll never learn. He'll never learn. Not even in the second book. He never learns. The second book on Plan to Eat, this man will never learn. And I love that. It's funny. But also, you dumbass. This is why I call him a himbo, okay? He's a himbo. He's a sweet himbo. He's a dumbass himbo who doesn't think before he acts, and he has good ideas, but they're terribly, terribly executed. Anyways. She begged in frustration. Meadow said, Yes, Your Highness, sorry, he said, bowing his head. Go follow Thorn and get the prince set up in a cell, she said, waving her hand. We will talk about this in the morning. With that, Meadow nodded and left the room, preparing himself for a fun talk him and the Queen were about to have in the morning. End of chapter 1. Alright. So, yeah. My throat hurts. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do this, like, 2 chapters a stream. I kind of want to move on to the next chapter, but also, like, I don't want to move on to the next chapter. So, one side story is not the full story. That's all I'm going to read for you guys in chapter 2. I think we'll call it good on reading. I'm still going to stream, but God, ugh. My throat, bro. Ugh. Anyways. This is my book. This has been Book Dance of the Phoenix. I think I'm still going to stream for a little bit. I don't know what we're going to do. But yeah, basically, the things to get out of the first, or prologue and first chapter. King is an asshole. Lawrence is a scared little child. Meadow is a dumbass. And Thorn is tired of his shit. That's my explanation for the prologue and chapter 1. King is horrible. Parents are dead. Family dead. King horrible. Human king horrible. Of course it's a human. Of course the humans are horrible. Phoenix Meadow, dumbass. Queen Rose, mother figure. And Thorn just being tired of Meadow. Also, I did mention many times Mama Phoenix. Mommy Phoenix? Yes? I'm sorry, I love Phoenix so much. She's a giant woman. Phoenix is a giant woman. And I simp for giant women. I may be aromantic asexual. However, a big tall woman that radiates nice warmth and is just like a mother to everyone and is a giant leaf mama tree. Oh, I love her. I love Phoenix so much. You guys will hear me say that a lot if I talk about this book, because Phoenix is my girl. Phoenix is my girl, bro. You guys don't even get to see her often, and it makes me sad. Like, I know I need to incorporate her more, but the thing is that in the first book especially, she is not important. This story is a story about Meadow and Prince Lawrence. They have nothing. It has nothing to do with Phoenix. The only thing that really has anything to do with Phoenix is death. So, but yeah, that's the prologue. That is the prologue in the first chapter. Meadow, I hope everyone likes Meadow, because Meadow's just kind of stupid. He's meant to be a himbo. But yeah, that was the first letter. And yeah, forever, my favorite part of chapter 1 will just be him interacting with Thorn. Because Thorn is one of my favorite characters to write. My other favorite character to write is Lotus. All my characters who are my favorite in this book get barely any screen time. They get none. Oh god, my throat hurts from reading that. I need water. I need to go get some water. My throat hurts. Ow. I read way too much. I gotta stretch. God, okay. Alright. Sorry, I'm taking a second. My back hurts. I need to go get some water. I might go fill up my Todoroki cup. Alright, and now I'm gonna change the titles, just hanging out, because I have nothing else to say. That's it. I have nothing else to read. I do need to get on Minecraft for my admins. But I don't want to do that on just on a poison stream. I think I'm gonna do that around 5, so I have like an hour or so left. 5:30, 6, something like that. But yeah, speaking of, oh yeah,